Prosody rate equals slow. Your oncologist doesn't prescribe from a catalog anymore. /prosody. She uploads your tumor genome. The AI designs your drug. A molecule no one has ever synthesized, made for you. The quantum leap. This is not science fiction. The machine already exists. At the quantum leap, we write science fiction that isn't. In October 2024, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry went to, not to a chemist, not to a biologist, to a. And that machine, AlphaFold, is now designing real. Before we go further, here's what we're actually watching. The traditional drug pipeline, 12 years, 2.6 billion. 90% of drugs fail in trials, most never reach. That failure rate hasn't changed meaningfully since the 1950s. The bottleneck isn't funding, it's our inability to read biology. Proteins are the machinery of life. Every disease involves a. For 50 years, predicting how a protein folds was biology's. It took 50 years of failed attempts to understand why. In 2020, AlphaFold solved it. The scientific community called it. John Molt, who ran the protein folding competition for 28 years. This is a once-in-a-generation advance, he said. By 2022, the AlphaFold database contained 200 million protein structures. That is essentially every protein in every known organism on. Biology had a library, we had just learned to read. In 2024, AlphaFold 3 arrived. Now it reads protein binding too. The jump from prediction to drug design is what changes. Demis Hassabis, the man who built AlphaFold, didn't. He spun off Isomorphic Labs in 2021, its sole purpose. In January 2024, Isomorphic signed deals with Eli Lilly and the total value, $3 billion, the largest AI pharma deal. Eli Lilly doesn't make bets like this on technology that. Now, let's look at what the science actually shows. Protein folding was solved, but solving wasn't enough. The real question, can we design molecules that bind to? Traditional drug discovery, screen millions of compounds one by one. That process takes months per target. AI takes hours. This isn't acceleration, it's a different kind of science. Alex Javaronkov founded Insilico Medicine in 2014. Few took him. His vision, an AI that identifies disease targets and designs. Not one step with AI, both steps, end to end. In 2019, his AI identified a target for idiopathic pulmonary. IPF, a fatal lung disease with no cure, 40,000. The AI didn't just find a target, it designed They called it Isomorphic 55. The designation feels clinical. The backstory. From initial AI discovery to human trials, 18 months. The industry average for the same journey, 4 and A. What strikes us about this comparison? The difference isn't marginal. Phase 1 results, published in Nature Medicine in 2023. No. The drug performed as the AI predicted it would. In 2024, Insilico enrolled Phase 2 patients, the first AI designed. When we first looked at this timeline, we went back. If the Phase 2 results hold, and that's not. Meanwhile, Recursion Pharmaceuticals is running a different experiment. They run 1 million compound experiments every week, not sequentially. The data they generate in a week would take Their AI watches for patterns in that data no human. Here's the detail that stopped us. The AI found A. It wasn't looking for it. The AI was trained for. This unexpected discovery across disease categories is It's happening across the industry. Benevolent AI found it with baricitinib. An AI trained on inflammation data identified baricitinib as A. The clinical trial confirmed it. What the AI found worked. The pattern. AI finds connections in biology that human attention. This is one of three forces rewriting drug discovery. Here's. Generative AI doesn't just search existing molecules, it invents new. Schrödinger's platform uses quantum chemistry to simulate molecular behavior. Without synthesizing a single compound, they predict how it will. That simulation layer is worth understanding and worth scrutinizing. Simulation isn't the same as experiment, even the best models. The physics work in the simulation, whether they scale too. This limitation doesn't invalidate the approach, it defines its frontier. And now the third force, and this one is. AlphaFold solved structure prediction, then Isomorphic Labs solved molecule design. Separately, biological automation companies like Recursion built the physical test. When these three layers converge, design, predict, test. This is what Terminator got wrong. The machine doesn't become. The scientists who watched The Matrix in 1999 are building. Their science fiction becomes the direction. Their discipline becomes the. Now, the moment that shifted the industry's confidence in. October 9, 2024. The Swedish Academy announced the Nobel Prize. David Baker for protein design, Demis Hassabis and John Jumper. The prize committee's language was deliberately cautious and significant. Rational protein design, not computation, not simulation, design. That framing matters. It says, this is no longer just. When the Nobel Committee validates a tool, institutional science catches. Within 6 months, over 300 pharmaceutical companies integrated AlphaFold 3. The FDA watched this, and they started writing guidelines. In 2025, the FDA published its first draft guidance on. As of that guidance, over 100 AI-assisted IND applications. IND, investigational new drug, the formal request to begin human. 100 drug candidates with AI-generated molecular design concepts, waiting. Let's pause here. This is where the honest accounting gets. Having 100 AI-assisted candidates entering trials is not the clinical trial attrition rate remains brutal, even for. AI improves the speed and quality of candidates entering trials. Some researchers flag a deeper concern, drugs we don't fully. The AI predicted activity, the drug worked in trials, but in traditional drug development, mechanism comes first. In AI design, this isn't a disqualifying flaw, it's an epistemic shift. The medicine, from art to engineering to AI, we don't yet. The field is adapting, the ethical frameworks are catching up. But let's go back to the patient where this. One patient, one AI-designed drug, one measurement that changes what's. The first phase 2 readout for a fully AI-designed drug. If it passes phase 2, the trial speed proof of concept is. The pharmaceutical industry's R&D budget in 2024, $238. AI isn't disrupting a small industry, it's entering the largest. Frost & Sullivan's 2025 market report projects the AI drug. That is 4 billion in tools. The drug's those tools. But here's where the story forks and why this. In one version of 2040, 3 AI companies own the. They license access at price points that determine which diseases. In the other version, the open science model universities. Neglected tropical diseases, unprofitable to traditional pharma, finally. The difference between these two versions is a regulatory vote. This fork isn't hypothetical, it's the actual policy question on. David Baker, one of the 3 Nobel laureates. His lab at the University of Washington made Rose's AlphaFold available. Thousands of researchers used it within months, the biology database. Which model wins, open or closed, that decision shaped. There's a harder question underneath this entire story, one we. When AI designs a drug we can't explain, what? Informed consent requires understanding. Black box medicine creates a new. The field doesn't have a settled answer, the FDA guidance. This is the epistemic frontier, and it's where this. We've seen this before. Chemistry in the 1950s moved faster. Some of those drugs worked brilliantly, some caused unforeseeable harm. The lesson isn't to stop, it's to watch more. Post-market surveillance for AI-designed drugs will need to be more. The system being built now will define how we manage. Now what this means for the next decade, the bottlenecks that remain, clinical trial enrollment, manufacturing, and regulatory. AI makes great drug candidates faster. It hasn't yet made. But platforms targeting trial speed, decentralized AI-monitored are. NVIDIA's Mo platform and similar tools are targeting molecular manufacturing. The manufacturing layer is being rebuilt to accommodate AI-designed molecular. The trajectory the evidence supports, not a tsunami, a cascade. AlphaFold unlocks protein structure. That unlocks drug design. That unlocks. Each domino falls. The interval between them is decreasing. What John Goodenough did for batteries at 57, Baker. Goodenough won his Nobel at 97. Jumper and Hassabis won. The speed of scientific recognition is itself accelerating. That tells. What does this mean for a 40-year-old with A? The drugs that reach patients in 2030 are in clinical. Some of those drugs were designed by AI systems that. The gap between science fiction and the pharmacy shelf has. This is the framework we take away from this story. Layer 1, protein structure accuracy. Watch the CASP benchmark scores. Layer 2, AI drug candidates in human trials. Watch the. Layer 3, trial enrollment speed. This is where the system. When all 3 accelerate simultaneously, that's the convergence threshold. The first person cured by an AI drug has almost. Somewhere today, a researcher is running the experiment that redesigns. We don't know their name yet. The AI will tell. This is what converging exponentials look like from the inside. Will the Phase 2 data hold? Subscribe and tell us. Next, when AI met the telescope, subscribe the timeline.